Welcome back. It's Tuesday, 2 minutes on the clock, roll the intro. So today's insight on the 2 Minute Tuesday are flavours and, the different range within the Nutrabaits camp, why we'd use them, how we'd use them. That's what we're looking at. So we're going to put 2 minutes on the clock. It's going to make this real. We've got to do this fast. Yeah, 2 minutes. In the range of flavours that we do here at Nutrabaits, we have ethyl alcohol, the nature identical flavours, and we have the under-the-counter specials, or UTCS. What is the difference between all the different flavours? Well, back in the 80s when I was doing a lot of bait making, one of the things I tended to fish a lot of very, very silty waters. A lot of the waters I fished had some very good silt, but also had some not so great silt that would mask a bait very, very quickly. Let's just start off, let's just talk about bases of solvents. All flavours are made on a solvent base and then they're tweaked to represent themselves in a particular manner. The first thing, before we get into the actual basis of the solvents that make up flavours, I just want to explain something about how we smell and how differently carp smell. So basically how we smell. We open up a bottle of flavouring, and most carp anglers, you watch any carp angler go into any tackle shop, straight over to the flavour section, and then, ooh, I like that, and ooh, that's going to be good. To be honest with you, as Big Bill said to me, he said, you know what, carp don't smell the way we smell. So if we smell something that smells nice, doesn't mean that they're going to smell it the same way. You open up a bottle, you sniff, and the particles of the flavouring go airborne. And they go up through your nasal cavity and they then come down onto some sensors at the back pad of your tongue. That's how we smell. It's actually, technically, we're tasting, we're not smelling, if we're being really honest about it. But that's how we smell. We've got little receptors all up through our nasal cavity and down onto the back of our tongue. In water, these particles can't go airborne. So a different thing happens, and the carp don't smell the way we do. They do have a nasal cavity and they do smell through it, but they have other sensory organs that pick up on smell. But it's not smell as we know it. They smell by a thing called chemoreception. Basically, it's ionization in the water column of an organic or inorganic food matter. So the ionization is positively charged or negatively charged ions that surround a food source. That's how they recognize a smell. So you could find that if I say take cranberry flavoring and then the pineapple flavoring, they both have the same solvent base, but they would be made up slightly different in their ionization underwater. So therefore they would give off a different signal and the fish respond differently to it. Very, very complex sciencey stuff here, but look, the bottom line is we don't smell the way carp smell and they don't smell the way we smell. I think that's a given. But this chemoreception means that certain things stay constant. So the base of the flavour stays constant. Now the base of the flavour on, say, the under-the-counter specials is different to that of, say, the nature identical, which is also different to the ethyl alcohol. The most water-soluble flavouring on the market is ethyl alcohol. And ethyl alcohol rapidly disperses from the bait. Glycerol-based nature identical product that we do, glycerol is less water-soluble. It's still water-soluble, but it's less water-soluble, so it remains in the bait for a much longer period. So, for example, back in the 80s when we were experimenting on these very silty venues, if we cast a bait out, after an hour, if you brought it back in with an ethyl alcohol flavour, there's no smell of the flavour at all. It was all gone. And what you could smell was the smell of the mucky silt. But if we used a glycerol-based flavouring, chucked it out, after 12 hours of bringing it back in, the smell would still be there. It wouldn't be as strong, but it'd still be there, and you wouldn't have that repugnant smell of the silt. Using the right base mix on the solvents is just as important as picking the right flavour. One of the little tricks we did, we would mix and match the ethyl alcohol flavours with the glycerol-based flavours. Usually it would be 2/3 glycerol-based flavour to 1/3 of the ethyl alcohol. So we were getting the best of everything, the best of both worlds. It's a great way of getting a quick leak off immediately and then having a slow burner running in the background. That's going to bring in carp over a longer period. It will stimulate them to feed. Essential oils are there just purely to give the bait a label. They don't attract as much as the other flavours within the range. Ethyl alcohol is great if you're a short stay angler, you're trying to nick bites very, very quickly. Ethyl alcohol flavors are brilliant for short session angling. Nature identical flavoring, if you go to any flavor house, buy any flavours off anyone, you'll find that the nature identical flavours are the most expensive range of flavours that they will do because they're mapped differently. They're designed to have a footprint similar to that of what they're trying to mimic on the flavour. All you need to know though from a carp angling perspective is the fact that they are the most refined products. They are the most expensive because they are the very best that the flavour companies can produce. Using the best ingredients you can get away with is always, for me, a no-brainer. It's the route you should go. The under-counter specials are flavour combinations that are blended in-house in Nutrabaits. So we have a team of guys who've been around so long and they found little tricks and tweaks and combos with other products that make a more unique label and a more unique flavour system, a more attractive flavour system for carp fishing. The great thing about the Nutrabait flavour range is they've already worked out the optimal flavour levels. It's on the back of each of the bottles. So this is Gerry, this has been 2 Minute Tuesday, and yeah, I think we'll be seeing you in the next 2 Minute Tuesday video. See you soon.